lovely to start after about 5 or 6 people leave immediately before you start speaking. I always like to introduce myself before I start, tell people a little bit about myself. My favourite thing in the world to do is to wind up one-night stands by the morning telling them I'm 15. Just to see the look of absolute horror on their faces, which I'm sure will be shared by many of you after hearing me spiel detritus for 5 minutes. But whilst that's my favourite thing to do, my least favourite thing in the entire world to do is dumping people. And it's horrible, isn't it, ladies? I mean, no matter what the situation, you always end up feeling like a little bit like Amanda Holden. And that's something you so rarely want to have to feel like in life, poor Les. But, you know, at times it's something that just has to be done. And, you know, I always think about it as being like how they have to put down horses at the Grand National sometimes. And that incident is also what I bet on every year. You know, how many horses aren't making it back in the trailer at the end of the evening. But the thing to do with dumping people, I've figured out now, is to make it memorable. And that way, you know, once the guy's stopped cutting himself of an evening and, you know, listening to Radiohead records and drinking bottles of whiskey and is able to laugh, well then, you know, you've kind of given him an anecdote. And so that's why the last time I had to break up with someone, I tried to make it, literally, quite literally, the most depressing experience in the world for him by taking him to the J restaurant at Sainsbury's. And a few of you, I don't know, if you haven't seen one of these before, I really do suggest that you take a perusal because they are the most miserable places on earth. Honestly, everyone in there looks like they just had to identify their 3-year-old son at the morgue. And it's true, and I've never even seen anyone speak in there. They just sit silently wearing Velcro shoes and they stare at plates of sausage and chips, not knowing quite whether to eat them or to stab themselves bluntly in the face with them. And I don't know, madam, perhaps you're kind of feeling a bit uncomfortable and maybe thinking I'm being unfair. And you know what, in a way it's true. You know, I probably would lose my appetite as well if my son had just been sodomized in half. However, on the flip side, I do think that I'd squeeze in room for a jam donut, particularly if it's one with sprinkles, because let's face it, who can resist? Sorry, a lot of you are looking with extreme concern, but surprisingly that breakup actually went quite well. It was better than the previous treasure hunt idea, which I have to tell you is never ever wise, even though I personally thought that the clues were quite funny. Before we leave this theme of snookering young boys, and I promise that we will, I was doing a gig last night that this theme of snookering young boys angered her so much that we had to have words outside. She was an elderly lady, very angry with me, kept on shouting bad behaviour, but we settled it in the traditional manner. Let's take this outside, and I showed her a crossword so difficult it gave her a fucking stroke. So we settled that, and that was fine. But no, before we leave this theme, this is an observation that I've had. I don't know whether you think this, but I find little girls with baby dolls really unsettling. You know, because frankly, from a distance, how is a paedophile to know that she's not sexually active? And you know, this is coming from a good place because, to be honest, I just don't want people to fall into the same trap as me. By 14, I'd had so many abortions, I could give Vera Drake a run for her money, and no one else need fall into that trap. But in fact, home straight now, I'd like to move on to a lighter note. I was watching a documentary about the Holocaust the other week, and it made me think about myself and some of the injustices in my life. Not getting into ballet school was a big one, and I'm really, you know, I'm sorry to say that it turned me into a grumpy Goethe, which will surprise you because I'm clearly such a light-hearted kind of person. But it made me angry in a way that I usually only ever reserve for those celebrity autobiographies, and in particular with Gloria Hannafitz. How many books about her dead daughter can she write? She's milking that cash cow drive from its cancerous udders, and somebody's got to stop her. And I saw Nelson pop his head by, so I've got to finish up. And in fact, that's a good place to end, because I always like to end insulting an aging and frankly for most people forgotten television personality. But if you do enjoy forgotten TV personalities, I am currently starring in a one-woman show about Jill Dando. It's called One Fine Day, and you can catch that if you like. It's a promenade performance, so I just wander all around London and every 10 minutes fall down. So yeah, that's my time, kept it short. The Diana jokes we'll keep in the back pocket for another time, but enjoy the rest of the act.